Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am here.
Hello.
Amy's here.
Hello,
We've
hello.
got how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Hanging in there. I had to run around earlier, so that always frazzles me a bit. It can be just a simple errand, but it's like, no,
Yeah.
I have a show to do later. I need to sit and only focus on that. Like it's so poisonous the way I operate. It just
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah. You
I
know, you're
can't help
not
it.
going to change at this point, Mike. So
No, old dog,
we
right?
accept it.
Isn't that terrible that I'm like that? Like, wait, you need me to run to the corner and come back in 5 minutes? Well, this day's fucking ruined.
Right?
Like, so G had to drop a car off at at the shop, get some work done. And it's like, I mean, it was no big deal, but it's still,
Yeah.
it's in my head. It throws me off.
Yep.
Is what it is.
I get
AA
it.
Ron is behind the scenes today. Garrett's having a little issue with his working station. So thank you, AA Ron, for taking time out and be able to play some videos for us. Kind of crazy. We haven't been here since a few things happened in the media of interest. Zelensky's White House visit
Yes.
took place.
International incident, as
Yeah.
some are calling it.
Yes, and watching the very, very predictable meltdown is always fun. The fallout from that. The Oscars were last night. I'll be honest, I actually watched it, and I did it
How
on
was
purpose.
it?
I hated every minute of it. I'll get into some details and these clowns in Hollywood. It was the first time I've watched it in 10 years, I believe. I don't think I've watched it. Never covered it on the Detroit cast with Jay. We never covered it. I was just done with it. And maybe someone could go back and go, no, that's not true. In 2014, I guess maybe on some small level. I mean, it used to really be.
Yeah. You covered if something
deal.
happened, like, Will Smith slaps Chris Rock. That was at the Oscars, right?
Yes, great point. But all of those have been such a massive turnoff. And if I'm being totally honest, there were certain things that even going back to the Riff morning show days where you didn't have the ability to get the news yourself for the most part. You waited for USA Today or, even going back all those years, I was done with Hollywood. I still, like certain Hollywood people or movies I could be a fan of, but as a whole, like I just was done with them blowing each other on a stage. All of those award shows. There were certain things like Drew got really in. He still is, I think. That fucking he's a soap opera guy. I don't care what he says. So like Real Housewives or fucking so and so was an asshole on an island and Bachelor. Like never gave a shit. Never once did I give a shit. Never. I had a job to do. So
I
you
kind of stopped watching around when they started really lecturing us. It's like, I've got too much going on in my life to sit and listen to a bunch of disconnected rich people lecture me about how I should feel about things. And, like Ricky Gervais said, like, come up here, thank your God, thank your agent, and get the fuck off the stage.
Take your shiny toy and fuck off.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
away.
Like, you don't need to lecture us about anything. So it kind of lost me around then. And then when you remove all meritocracy from it and you have requirements of what pictures have to have in order to be up for best picture, you clearly don't have the best pictures up there because there are clearly some that were probably great. I think there was a Dennis Quaid movie this year that didn't qualify because it wasn't diverse enough. And that's crazy to me. And I just can't watch at that point because it's like, what is this?
Yeah. And honestly, I'll even run down my notes with you. And I forced myself to watch and not like, ooh, it's Oscar night, but just like, you know what? I should probably pay a little attention to see what they're like now. I mean, I see what they're like on Twitter. I see what they're like in interviews and not much has changed, but it was like their ratings and shit have been so bad that you would think at some point they'd go, okay, this isn't working. We've got to, because the way it used to be is you'd get, I don't know, 20 awards, 30 awards, whatever it was. And, 27 of the 30, 28 of the 30, you would go, I would have chose that one, but I get it. And then they'd get up and they'd, blow each other a little bit, but you understood what they were saying because they were speaking your language, your country language. And then there'd be one or two that would go like, by the way, cow's milk is bad. We're killing cow. They'd make some stupid, unrelatable, like world catastrophe. We all need to pay attention. There'd be one or two of those. Now it's like nothing's changed. They still have to like play this game, and it's just so obvious. And I don't know that that's a winning formula at all. It's kind of funny to look at it. Daryl Hannah's going to go up there and I stand with Ukraine. Like, do you, Daryl?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You stand with Ukraine from Malibu? Fuck off.
I know. That's the thing. It's like the virtue signaling is so insane. The amount of money that's in that room, the amount of money that was spent on glam and dresses and transportation and security. And it's like you're standing up there saying, I stand with Ukraine. Okay, if you stand with Ukraine, here's a great idea. Stop the Oscars for as long as the war is going on and donate all the money that you would have spent on the Oscars to Ukraine. That would be you standing with Ukraine. FYI.
Right. You can do something. Like,
you can do something.
Look, they're feeling it over there, and we are so privileged we don't have to feel it. Well, you know what? We're going to feel it. I know it's trivial, but on this level, we can do this. And we're not going to perform for you guys tonight. You're not going to get to see the, I would say beautiful people, but they're not. That doesn't even qualify you anymore. They're not.
Yeah.
It's just like, who can be the most unattractive and give them an award and then praise ourselves for that behavior is kind of what they're doing.
They all look like Ozempic aliens at this point.
Oh my God. Dude, I actually like Whoopi and Oprah. I swear to God, if you didn't have the volume on, you were like, oh, they must be doing an Ozempic ad live. Yeah. That's kind of cool. They're doing live ads. It's like, okay, two women who have been fat their whole lives, who have documented their entire existence is losing weight, how I'm going to lose weight. And then it's like next season starts and you're a monster again. And now it's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Crazy.
I've just gotten healthy. That's all it is. It's like, and Oprah looks freakish. Her head is so big.
It's so big.
It's so big. It's like, Oprah, you're meant to be a fat chick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Same with Lizzo. Lizzo is slimming down, which is surprising because I thought she loved being fat. I guess she didn't.
Right.
But same thing, like huge head.
Huge. And Whoopi looks literally like the alien from Predator. Like, I'm not the first to say that. That's what she looks like. If you pull a side by side of Whoopi Goldberg and the alien from Predator, you're just like, oh shit, that's the thing of nightmares. But both of them walk out there like, what? No, in our 60s, we just decided to really buckle down and get serious about weight loss. And look at us. No, what you're doing is you're taking a shot in the belly once a week, and it's curbing your appetite. I get it. I was doing it with Mounjaro. Now I have diabetes, so it's more meant for that. But I get it. It works. I don't have any problem with it. I don't want to shame anyone over it. But Oprah really wanted to start out on a campaign of like, what are you talking about? I'm just hitting the gym, working out. I'm doing.
Yeah, she was like a big Weight Watchers.
Person. Yeah, she might still be. So Emilia Perez, I don't know how you say it in Latinx, but that it looked like the worst film ever, but it won everything. It's just the
worst.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's about.
Have you seen any of the previews or the musical scenes?
Yeah, it's a musical. Oh my God.
Mike, when you watch it, it's like, this has to be an SNL skit. Like the things that they're singing about, it's so crazy. Hey, Aaron, I know you're in the background there and I'm just putting you to work, but if you can happen to find the musical scene where they're singing, I think it's in a hospital. I'm envisioning it in a hospital like hallway. They're singing about the transition process. Mike, you have to see it.
They're hyping it up.
You have to see it. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you can find that Aaron, great, pull it up. But there's that one. I don't know if it's any good. It looks horrific, but it's foreign, so we have to pretend it's the greatest thing that's ever been laid down on film. Obviously, that goes without saying. So is that the one Zoe Saldana
Yes.
won for?
Yep.
Okay. She goes, these people that go on stage, I'm so proud to be Dominican. They're doing that shit. No mention at all of this country and everything it's given her. It's like, no, your grandparents came over here in 61 and spit you out. You've been American your whole life, yet you're so proud to be Dominican, and it's going to go on and on about, and Mike Myers did the same thing on SNL this weekend. He's so proud to be Canadian, and Canada's not for sale. There's one thing that both of those places have in common when it comes to Mike Myers, Zoe Saldana. They'll never live in those fucking countries.
Right.
Never. They left. They were, in her case, she was never there. Will not live there. Mike Myers said, fuck off to Canada 40 years ago and has no interest in living there. So, they can be as proud as they want and they can, wear slogans. They can, it's just buying this. I guess you can be proud of your family's heritage, but at the same time, if you went up there, proud up there and went, this is the greatest country in the world. I can't believe someone grew up with not much in Ohio. And here I am on the Oscar stage. Is this the greatest? Like, you're not welcome there.
Right.
You are not welcome at that place. If you went in there with an American flag pin on or an American flag on your, God forbid, a MAGA hat, you're literally blackballed. You're not allowed in the building.
Kind of wish Adam Sandler had a MAGA hat on last night, along with his sweatshirt, and he was dressed like a straight up bum, like Fetterman.
Fetterman, yeah. So Zoe's very proud to be Dominican. Getting lost. I don't know if I hope everything's okay.
Hey, you're kind of breaking up on my end.
Am I? God damn it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Seems better now.
Does it? Yeah. It keeps throwing me a connection issue. So bear with me. I'm sorry. It's like The Substance. Is that what the name of that movie was? The Demi Moore one?
Is that what it was?
The Substance is in it. I can't remember if that's the name of it, but either way, did you see that movie?
I did. I don't think I've seen any of them. I saw Wicked.
Oh God, that looks horrible.
That was the only one I've seen.
Yeah, so I can't remember the Demi, but people know what I'm talking about. I did see it. It's fine.
Yeah, The Substance.
The Substance. It got cartoonishly silly at the end. I thought some people loved it, but it's. The director, some chick, who knows, is bitching how there's it's like there's no representation of over 50 women. And what she's feeling is representation is the only way I could think of it is like what you've propped up there as representation, and what's lacking now is you've sold women in this industry at the most sellable, gratuitous, sexy, fuckable, unattainable period of their existence. Like, that's what you're making money on for all of Hollywood's existence. That's what you've done. You're hard on the eyes. We've heard horror stories of like, I'd hire her, but her nose is a little more.
Yeah.
I'll get a nose job.
Yeah.
And so it only makes sense to me in that industry that, okay, when that's what you've done forever is like the most unattainable, fuckable, sexiest, who's the hottest new 20-year-old piece of ass that we can and act like, oh my God, the chops that this one has are just unbelievable. When that's what you've pushed for so long, it just makes sense that ages out at some point.
Right.
Like, that's been your formula forever. And so why, when that's your formula for, they've got a shelf life of, 15 years, 20 years, and then they sort of age out, and it's like, yeah, it's too hard to sell Demi Moore as like the super hot, everyone wants to bang her chick.
Right.
Halle Berry's going through that.
Yeah.
Jennifer
Yep.
Aniston is
Yep.
creeping into that. So this idea, like, the country was the problem. Like, there's just no representation. Well, guess what? We don't have any choice in who
Yeah.
you put up there
Yeah.
over the years. We
Right.
haven't.
Right. Right.
So I'm sorry that that's what you're feeling, that now that these girls are aging into a time when Hollywood won't even call me back. No, I know, because the thing is, people keep having babies and hot chicks keep being born. And so the
Yeah.
next one is, so while this
Yeah.
girl's, while she's the it catch 19-year-old, we can throw in the sexiest outfits ever imaginable and prop her up on the screen. Don't give it a few years and then they'll wash her out too. So, and even with the substance, it's like, yeah, you had that, but you still had the smoking hot chick in there.
Yeah.
For most of it. Nude.
Yeah. And also, like, she's also white. So, I mean, like, she had that going against her. She's white and she's older. So, it just
Demi
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, I don't know, man. It's just the takeaway that I wrote down is, if you're in the club, you'll do nothing to jeopardize membership in that club. That's what you get from that room. I don't know how they don't see it. Like, you have the Dolby Theater on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and there's one thing that 5,000 people all have in common, and that is they all feel exactly the same way about everything.
Right.
Like, that's just creepy.
Yeah,
it's
it's
creepy.
A cult.
It's while they would call you you're a MAGA cult.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Amy and I have a lot of discussions on this show. Plenty of people have come on here with differing opinions on things, but like, you don't get that. Nobody could go up there and go, I stand with the president of the United States who wants to end war at all costs. Like, you'd be booed off the stage there.
For sure.
You would.
Sure. Yes.
So, there was, lastly, Conan. There was one joke that was pretty fucking funny. I thought, and Conan's great. Conan's
I like Conan
out there. Conan's good. He's a really smart guy. And he says, he comes through and it's like halfway through the show. He's like, we're halfway through the show. So it's about that time for Kendrick Lamar to come out here and call Drake a pedophile. That's funny.
Good. I mean,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Then some idiot one, something talked extensively about some war somewhere. Might have been Israel, Hamas. I don't know. I can hardly understand him. He hates Trump. He's and just pleading to a room full of people that wildly agree with him. And all I can think is, just take your shiny little toy and go home. Like, it kind of goes back to the whole Ricky Gervais thing. Like, dude, just thank your mom and thank your stupid agents and go away.
Thank your God and get off the stage.
And I also wrote down that he's making the mistake of thinking his words mean anything outside of that evil room that he's in, or that, normal, gross, dirty, flyover people give a shit at all about what they're saying. So it's just clapping seals to themselves. Timothy Chalamet, I was hoping he would win for the whatever movie, the Dylan one.
Right.
I think that was one hell of a performance, but they didn't. You've got a couple white leads in that. I don't. So it probably makes sense that they couldn't. This guy I thought was interesting. Honora was one of the big winners.
Yeah, that's who won Best Actress over Demi, I think, right?
Right.
Was for,
So that one had the trans person, and it's about the sex work industry.
Yes. And I think she thanked the sex workers.
Yeah. So Sean Baker's the director, won 4. You'll see him everywhere now with the Oscars. And we'll get into a conversation about this because I'm really interested in your take too, Ames. So Sean Baker, the director of Honora, won 4 Oscars and told reporters afterwards that he wants sex work decriminalized. Honora is about a prostitute who marries the young son of a Russian oligarch. The boy's parents object to the marriage and ultimately they split up. So I've been pretty outspoken about my stance on sex work. It's our oldest profession, yet it has an incredibly unfair stigma applied to it. And what I've been trying to do with my films is sort of chip away at that very unfair stigma. These are his words, not mine. Personally, I think it should be decriminalized. And I guess through my work, through hopefully humanizing my characters, that they are usually seen as perhaps caricatures in most film and television, it will help to do that. Yeah, what I would ask him. So he's talking about like the stigma with sex work, and I'm kind of with him. This idea of criminalizing something, like, oh, I get it. There is another argument, and I would honest question to the film director Sean Baker. So if we're talking about your daughter personally, or your sister, or your mom, would you feel the same way? That sex work is legitimate work and we need to destigmatize it. My sister's very proud of her work. If your daughter wanted to break that recently set record of fucking 1,000 guys in 24 hours, I'm assuming by his comments that Sean would be all for that.
Right. Yes.
So my guess is it's probably just other people's sisters, daughters, moms that he's talking about.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I wonder, and then I'll get your opinion, Aim. Sorry. I wonder if anyone would bother to ask a follow-up question to Sean, or if he's just able to go into a room full of people that wildly agree with him, can never say anything. I mean, so a lot of people say it contributes to the decay of moral standards in society. No question about that. Which, I could take or leave, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be there regardless.
Right. Promotes sex trafficking, expands the sex industry, increases child prostitution, increases the demand from men for more prostitution, dehumanizes women, seen as just holes, and normalizes the sexualization of women. 100% it does that. Many claim if the sex trade were legal, regulated, and treated like any other profession, it would be safer. Research says otherwise. Countries that have legalized commercial sex work often experience a surge in human trafficking, pimping, and other related crimes. That's according to Demand Abolition. I mean, and also, Sean, do you partake in sex work? Because is that why you want to?
Yes.
Like, and that's fine. That would make more sense if it's like, hey, I've been getting hookers forever, and I wish it was safer and cleaner, and people didn't look at me sideways. And if not, why not? I mean, if it's just work, it's just, why wouldn't you want to support women trying to make an honest living? Sean?
Right.
Those seem like legitimate questions to ask. I don't know.
I'm so conflicted, and that's probably not a popular conservative stance. It might be a more libertarian stance.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it the same way I look at the drug industry. Like, we all have free will. And as long as you're doing something under your own free will, I don't feel like you should go to jail for that. That shouldn't be illegal. If you want to take drugs and kill yourself, I guess, I mean, I'm not like, that's on you. I don't encourage it, but like, I'm not here to whatever. And I feel the same way about this situation. It's like, porn is legal, OnlyFans is legal. Who am I to say that, Big E can't spend $50 to get a blowjob? Like, I don't think
TV.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't care as long as it's two consenting adults making a decision.
Right.
And I think, but when you get into, again, that does, but if you're okay with that, you do have to accept that along with that comes the very, very seedy and ugly side of it, of the sex trafficking, and you have pimps, and you get into an area of not doing it from your own free will. You're kidnapped into sex trafficking and you're forced into this life. That should be it is and should be completely illegal, and we should
Mhm.
work to eradicate that completely.
Yeah.
But I don't know if an adult wants to like charge $50 to give blowjobs. Who am I to tell you you can't do that? I don't give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that's kind of where I stand on it. Like I don't think that we should glorify it, because I think we had this discussion kind of about like OnlyFans and porn the other day, where it was like there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have kids, and you're not going to want to be like the town pump that everybody pays for sex, because it's just, I don't know,
Yeah.
you're going to end up having sex with your friends' kids, and it's going to be weird. Like there's going to probably come a point where you're not going to want to do that anymore, but who am I to stop you if that's what you want to
I
do?
I think these people are dangerously flirting with something here because, as much as they championed the skank that Trump apparently banged,
Mhm.
like she's just a washed up mid-40s mom parading around a mostly shitty body at this point on
Yeah.
a titty bar stage for tits.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
She's not, out there like, wow, this is something I hope my daughter aspires to.
Right.
Or, hey, at least she paved the way for this as an opportunity. If my daughter gets in a rough spot somewhere, she can always blow her way out of it. Like, no, nobody really, I don't believe you believe that.
Yeah,
Right? So it's
right.
very easy to say when you're talking about other people's kids, girls, really.
Totally,
There's not a
totally.
big industry for the guys. This is strictly a female thing. I mean, it does exist, but it's just it's fraudulent in that depiction of it, that
Right.
this isn't anything but sad that you've
Yeah.
had to resort to selling your body to make ends meet in the
Yeah.
wealthiest country in the nation. That sucks.
Boy, what an interest. You just really made me start thinking about something, Mike.
What's that?
You're right. There probably isn't much of an industry for dudes unless it's gay dudes. Because I bet if there's a woman who is like, I'm going to pay for sex, she's looking for another woman. She's not, because I mean, what woman has to pay a dude for sex? I mean,
Yeah.
you could go out to the bar and be like, hey, do you want to have sex? And they'd be like, okay. But, like, so that is an interesting. Yeah. No women are probably out there looking to pay dudes for sex.
I think there are some. T. Roy told the story on air that he thought about getting into it at one point when he was much younger. And it was like, of course you did, you fucking creep.
Like male
But
strippers, maybe.
rumor is there's a male escort business. Yeah. No, there
I could see
is.
that
And
for like lonely old women.
if you remember, T. Roy didn't do it because they were like, well, yeah, there's going to be some dudes thrown in too, and you can't
Yeah,
say no.
you
And he was
can't
like,
say no.
okay. I know what this is going to turn into, a bunch of fucking dude dates. Hard pass. But yeah, there definitely is. My question for these people would be, if you truly believe that, like, hey, every work is something to be proud of or destigmatized, and how dare you look down on someone? I find it very, very hard to believe that there are, if people are being honest, and the most liberal of people out there that would go, sex work is real work. Like, you're not going to your company party and it's like, how are the kids? And it's like, oh, Jason's at MIT and Leslie got into sex work. She's killing. You wouldn't believe it.
You
She
would
is.
you would never say that.
Yeah, she's going to buy a house soon. She's sucked so many dicks. She's going to have her own crib in no time. I would have thought Jason at MIT, he was going to be carrying his sister for the rest of her life, but no, she's given more hand jobs and blow jobs in the last year than I thought possible. She's just about to close on a beautiful home. Like, that's not a conversation anyone's having. They're just
No,
not.
they would say my daughter owns her own business
Yeah,
and she's doing very well.
she's
She's an
doing great.
entrepreneur.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, but if you when these guys get up there in the Dolby Theater in front of thousands of people who just mindlessly agree with everything they say, they can literally say anything. They're
Mhm.
promoting war, furthering the war in Ukraine. I stand with
Yeah.
Ukraine. Well, what does I stand with Ukraine mean? It
Right.
means that we need to keep throwing billions of dollars at this so he can beat Putin. Like, good luck, fuckface. Like, that's not how that's going to play out. But whatever, let's just say that. And this one, like, about sex work and sex workers, like, okay, I guess that's true for everybody else's kids, is what you're saying. Because I don't believe for a second. And then these people too. There's one of these Carla Sofia Gascon. She's got one of those lines above the O in Gascon.
Yes.
So I don't know what that
yes.
means. It's not the squiggly one, it's the straight one.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that means.
I think you pronounced that right.
Gascon? Maybe.
Yeah. Gascon.
It's a she, but it looks like if like Ray Lewis dressed up for the chick. It's like, I've seen hands like that. It's usually on a middle linebacker. Kind of a big dude. Was I
Yep.
flaking for a second?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry. So that I'm in a mate, or teach their own. But he was accused of being racist. Some social media posts. So, or of Emilia Perez or whatever, however they say that. First trans woman to be nominated for an acting Oscar, was once considered a front runner to win Best Actress. But then, of course, they all turned on her.
Yeah, she had some bad tweets.
What is that? Yeah, she had some bad tweets. And I do want to put a warning out there. Anytime we do some of these disturbing tweets that might really rattle people, to give you
trigger warning
if you want to check out for a couple minutes. Triggering, exactly, because they're rough and things go without at least giving some heads up on it. So, but Netflix shunned her. First trans actress. So it's like, fuck that thing. Tranny getting a little loose lip there with the tweets and going off the script.
Yes.
So it was even unclear if this actress would show up. They didn't know if she would show up. She did show up. Netflix, yeah. She didn't end up showing up. Am I flaking out this whole time, Ames? As the
bit.
God damn it. I have the what is that? Amy, did you pull something up over here?
Yeah. I sent it to A Rod. That's what I was telling you about, the scene from that movie where they're singing.
Okay.
It's just like 40 seconds.
All right, we'll go through this and then we'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
So she showed up, Gascon, trans actress, alongside her daughter, agent, a concerned Netflix publicist, and private security. Conan O'Brien mentioned the controversy, saying Honora uses the F word 479 times. That's 3 more than the record set by Carla Sofia Gascon's publicist. You tweeted what? That's hilarious. So right after the announcement was like, oh my God, we're celebrating this trans actress. She's a shoo-in, obviously, to take home the Oscar. A Muslim, Sarah Hagi, dug up a series of old social media posts that the actress made. And then now we got problems.
What's funny is they
hilarious.
Didn't even think that a trans woman could have possibly had bad tweets out there. Like, did not even do their due diligence. It's very easy to find all this stuff. But if it was just like a old whitey actor, they would have probably gone through their Twitter account to make sure they didn't have any bad tweets. But it was just like, no, there's no way that this trans woman could ever tweet anything we didn't agree with.
Yeah. And how dare her have views on societal things going on?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, here is the how you're allowed to feel about this, and just don't stray from that at all. And we're great. We'll celebrate you. We'll praise you. So one post, again, I apologize, trigger warning here. In November of 2020 read, I'm sorry, is it just my impression, or is there more Muslims in Spain? Every time I go to pick up my daughter from school, there are more women with their hair covered and their skirts down to their heels. Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic. Wow.
Wait, is there more?
No.
Stop it.
That was bad enough. I mean, come on. I
Wait,
mean,
that
I
was
hope
the
she
whole
never
thing.
works again. Let's be honest.
She doesn't deserve to. She
I
doesn't
mean,
deserve to.
yeah. I mean, at least we canceled her pre-award show appearances, and we stuck a Netflix employee with her to keep an eye on her at all times, because
Oh my God.
someone that fucked up, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Heaven
They're just a
forbid you
loose
make
cannon.
heaven forbid you make an observation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah. It's crazy. You know what I've noticed around here in Arizona? There's very few Muslim people in general. Like coming from Metro Detroit, it's something
Yeah.
you'd see all over
All the
town. Like
time.
here, like zero. That's an
Yeah.
observation that I can make. I know that's painful for people to hear, but I also can make that observation that you don't see very many blacks and you don't see many Muslims. So it's radically different. You see a lot of
Racist.
Mexicanos and you see a lot of Latinx. Tons of Latinx around here.
A lot of Latinx.
Yes. Also,
That
in
would be like
September,
us getting in trouble for being like, there's a lot of Chaldeans in our area, and nobody has ever heard of what a Chaldean is outside of Metro Detroit and like maybe one other area.
yeah.
And then just being like, you are such a racist for pointing out that there's this
How
like
dare you?
unique, category of people that live there.
Yeah. And some of it gets a little like people can have views on what they think of the treatment of women in that community, in that religion. And I'm sorry, you're in America where you're allowed to express exactly how you feel. It doesn't look terribly comfortable or inviting. I often talk about the one I saw one day, and it was just comical. There was one guy, he was in flip-flops and shorts and a tank top and a baseball hat. And his girl, I mean, the full, like, eye slits down to the fucking ground. It's 98 degrees out, jet black.
Yep.
All you can see is fucking eyeballs. And it was like, no, I'm sure that's exactly what that woman would choose. All things being equal. Like, that's how most women would choose to go out in society. Like, I'm not passing judgment on it, but it was like, yeah, this stands out as something. She also posted an image of a Muslim family eating at a restaurant along with the sarcastic comment. Again, folks, I apologize in advance. Islam is marvelous without any machismo. Women are respected, and when they are so respected, they are left with a little squared hole on their faces for their eyes to be visible and their mouths, but only if she behaves, although they dress this way for their own enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah. What's wrong about that? Wait till she points out that they can't drive.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. That's fun. It's one of my favorite stories at the amusement park.
You knew exactly what I was going to say.
The fucking bumper cars, man.
Oh my God. They literally they closed an amusement park so they could have the Muslim women drive around one day.
Dude, not only that, they put black tarps all the way around so you couldn't even see in at these fucking, grimaces driving around. And like, I got news for them. I don't know if anyone's told them, but that is not a true representation of driving a car.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm assuming you're able to drive, Amy. I'm assuming Rocky
don't make any assumptions.
Yeah. So I'm guessing Rocky seems like a pretty cool guy. He probably lets you drive.
Yes. I learned to drive at a cemetery.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've probably done bumper cars too.
Yeah. Driving a bumper car is hard.
It's hard.
And a go-kart, like, because it's so hard to steer.
Yeah. Yeah. She also tweeted about Black Lives Matter. So again,
this is where folks. She really lost it.
I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug addict swindler, but his death has served to once again demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys without rights and consider policemen to be assassins. They are both wrong.
Wow.
I'm surprised she's still free. Honestly, I'm surprised.
She should be stoned in the town square for that comment.
She did apologize. Thank God we've got her on record. It's not good enough. Obviously, it's not good enough for the people in Hollywood. There's no way. There's no redemption in a godless society, there's no redemption. And
Yeah.
so there's no sort of forgiveness you can get. But at least she's on record apologizing. As someone in a
Mhm.
marginalized community, I know this suffering all too well. I'm deeply sorry to those I have caused pain. All my life, I have fought for a better world. I believe light will always triumph over darkness.
Mm.
So, did you notice anything wrong with what she said about George Floyd? Is there anything
No,
factually?
of course not. Of course not. And I was actually like, I kind of respect this chick, dude.
Yeah,
And then she apologized, and it's like, just stand on what you were tweeting about. You didn't say anything wrong. Everything she said was accurate and not like at all offensive.
like let's be honest. People, I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd. That is a fact. And
$100%.
that goes to his family members. You know, they all came out for the check when it was like, oh my God, we've lost our dear beloved.
Yes.
What was his name again? My brother. I
Right.
haven't talked to him in
Right.
20 years, but
Right. Right.
dad came out of the woodworks, sister came out.
Yep.
They all came out of the woodworks. If you know anything about it, you know that none of those people ever showed up at his apartment
I
to
was just about
collect
to
his
say that.
belongings. Were you? I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah. No, we're on the same page. And I think, wasn't it to pay to tow the car, like his car was still there or something, and they were like, yeah, we have to pay like a couple $100 to tow it. And I
Yeah.
feel like Candace Owens paid
Candace
it
Owens
or
did.
something.
Yeah.
It's just like, you got all this money from all these people and you can't even take care of his belongings. I thought you loved the guy. You don't want his
Yeah.
belongings?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, like, if someone goes off the deep end as deep as George Floyd was in the drug world, and stuff like that, there's very little family members can do. I know this firsthand, and most people are aware of this. Like, you can't really help someone until they want to help themselves. It's a whole thing. So, but when they pass away, I can guarantee you, at my rock bottom worst behavior, with drugs and substance, like whatever. Had I died, my brother and sister and mom and dad would have come together and collected my belongings and paid to
100%.
have my car towed out of the property.
100%.
I want to say Candace Owens went as far as paying his rent for a
That
few
yeah,
months
yeah. I think
too.
that yes. There was something. She paid like a substantial amount, I feel like 5 grand or something.
What Amy and I are referencing is Candace did and you'll never see it. It's behind a paywall through Daily Wire now. But if you cared to know really kind of more in depth, not just what CNN showed you about George Floyd's life, the reality of his run-ins with the law and stuff, she did it. I want to say it was like a 10-part. Was that the 10-part
So
one or
good.
it? But
I
it's
think it
so
was.
detailed. I know she did 10 parts on Stephen Avery, which is fantastic as well. She's really, in my opinion, the premier journalist working today,
Yeah,
as
she's
far as
really
kind of
good.
diving into some of these with no regard for her own safety or what people are going to say about her. But they are really well done, and some of the stuff that comes out, like you can't make it up when you go and bring a camera crew to George Floyd's residence and sit down for the only interview ever done with his roommates, who are like, I didn't know
Right.
he had a sister.
Right.
I've never met his dad. They're the ones that said, no one ever came over here even after he died and collected his belongings. We didn't
Right.
know what to do with it, like,
Right.
so, and they were like, it was making them sick to see them, crying in front of
Yes.
Benjamin Crump and camera crews
Yes.
about how devastating this loss was. That was kind of the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So in there, they talked about Candace. That's what we're referencing is Candace Owens paid for, I think, rent to make those roommates whole because obviously George wasn't paying his rent and
Right.
get his car towed from the property, stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yep.
but yeah, that's true. And also her further point, seeing his death serve as what she's essentially saying is talking points for people that want to be on the side of like, black people haven't evolved since
Right.
they're
Right.
monkeys essentially. Wow, there's that garbage argument and
Yep.
the other garbage argument, which is all police are assassins. And she's making the point like, Neither of those things are
Right.
true, but
Right.
that's where we are.
Right. She was calling out both sides. She wasn't even taking a side. She was just basically saying like neither
Right.
of those are true, but they, if you didn't completely condemn all police at that time, then
Yeah.
you were a bad person. So,
And Hollywood feels comfortable with that. And
yeah.
there's not a single report like, wait a minute. So she voiced an opinion that maybe it's really what the problem is. It's a sensitive subject. When you're talking
Mhm.
about a race incident, when you're talking
Mhm.
about like that's what she's commenting on. Those are the things
Yeah.
like you could be out, your tweets could involve like, oh, use this lawn care treatment to get the greenest lawn. Or you could talk about what people are talking about in society.
Right.
I'm
Right.
sorry.
Right. Right.
Like that's the fun stuff to talk about is stuff that,
Right.
and having your opinion is an American right that we value a lot. And so
Yeah.
this idea that having an opinion on stuff that are very topical issues in American society is enough to just get you bounced from Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
damn well they wanted to give a trans actress an Oscar.
Well, yes. I mean, I got to tell you, I think she should not be bounced for those opinions that she had, but rather the fact that she made a completely terrible movie. From all that I could tell, that's why she should be banned from Hollywood, is because this was a movie that was actually made.
Is this the movie here, or is this the other one? The one you've got the 40-second clip from?
Yeah, this is the one she was in.
It is. Okay.
Amelia Perez, that's about that trans.
I believe they kept saying Perez.
Oh, Perez. Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if
would
that's
hate to get
cancelable.
canceled.
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
yikes.
I mean, leave it to MAGA Barbie to.
I know, man. I'm gonna really hear it after this. Aaron, do you have that clip from
Amelia
Ben Shapiro's
Perez
show?
to go find out about transition surgeries and what they mean. Here is some of this musical number. It's so bad you will want to drill into your own ear hole using an electric saw. There we go.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
By the way, worst hospital ever. Gotta say, terrible hospital. No patient privacy happening around here. Also, no actual measures taken to reduce the risk of infection. In any case.
I mean,
That is brilliant. I need to see this movie now. Like that is so infantile. Like honestly,
know.
if you said that's a movie for Marshall and his class watching, to like, what does that mean? What do you mean you can go from a boy to a girl? Like, and you played that clip for the classroom, they could probably wrap their heads around, going from a penis to a vagina. Like
it's like not even a song. It's just like they're just like talking with like it's so weird.
That is spectacular.
God.
Aaron, can you play it one more time? And you can fast forward past Ben. I just need to
Zoe
hear the
Saldana
jingle.
is tasked
One more
by
time,
Amelia Perez
please.
to drill into your own ear hole using an electric saw. There we go.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd
Good
like
enough.
to know
There you go.
about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
By the way, worst hospital ever. Gotta say, terrible hospital. No patient privacy happening around here. Also,
Zoe
no actual
Saldana
measures
won
taken
for
to-
that.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Won for that.
And she thanked the Dominican for some reason.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. So I guess at the end of the day, 48 minutes into the show, we can say absolutely nothing has changed in Hollywood. Those people are as gross as they've always been, as entitled as they've always been. It will never get old talking about it, pointing it out. I am so glad that that they don't at all have the pull that they think they do. I wanted to do a cut up, and if I had the weapons, if I was in a real studio and had kind of the access to the weapons, I was literally going to go and just pull up the Oscars broadcast from 1990, see the winners and kind of their behavior, and then chop it with what we're doing today, and it'll be so stark in why these people are so hated and why they're not looked up to in the same glamorous way. Like when you were younger, when you were a little girl, Amy, my guess is when you watched that and it started at 5 o'clock on the West Coast, it was still sunshiny, and you'd see the beautiful people pulling up in their cars and getting off, and they're gorgeous and they're young, and they're what they were wearing was exciting, and you just wanted to hear Brad Pitt say anything and wave to the fans across the street. Like, they were thankful and grateful, and then they went into this club that is so exclusive. You're not welcome. It just seems like a cult now. It really does, and I hope that offends them to hear. I hope
Yeah.
they know, like, no. I will continue. I need entertainment in my life too, whether that's from the Lions or my Niners or movies in general. But the lack of respect I have for the behavior of these people and what they think of themselves will never change. I can still go watch a movie. If it's good, I'll say it's good. If it's garbage, I'll say it's garbage. But those people, I can completely see what they are as human beings. And what they are as human beings are nothing. It doesn't mean all of them. I'm sure there's a handful here or there, but it's so obvious the game that they're playing, what they're doing, who they're promoting and why. And I'm just so grateful that most people, I think, have just see through it. They just see through it.
I mean, back in the day, we didn't have constant access to these people.
No.
And so seeing them on award shows, that was it, and they weren't lecturing us. You talk about going back in history. It'd be interesting to see how they were in like the 2002 Oscars right after 9/11, and if they were like patriotic and loved this
100%
country.
they were.
I have to
Guarantee it.
imagine they probably were. Everybody was. To now, it's like such a drastic change. And yeah, I mean, I think, everybody's woken up. I think the fact that the celebrities had no consequence on the election whatsoever just shows that they are becoming more and more irrelevant. Along those lines, I noticed before I joined on today that Candace Owens, part 1 of her Harvey Weinstein series is dropping today. So you'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it later. It'll be
I
interesting.
watched part 1.
Yeah, she had like an
talked to me.
intro episode.
Yeah.
She had like an intro episode. Yeah.
I'm interested to see where she goes with that. I really am. And she's earned that from me. Like, okay, let me hear what you got. She's earned that. So I look forward to that.
It was really interesting, like listening to her in the pre-intro episode. She kind of talks about how she got in touch with him and how this all, happened, and how, her first call that she had with him where, she essentially ended up having to pitch herself to him. And how
that was hilarious.
he did not want to go with her. I mean, the first question he asked her was, how could you support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
And, I think that goes to her credibility too, because if, and she says it over and over, she has nothing in common with this guy. She hates Hollywood like most of us do. He's an uber liberal. But she gave him the opportunity, and she he wanted to go with somebody who was very well known. And Candace finally said, like, where have your friends been? Where have all these people been? Like, if you have so much trust in them, where have they been this whole time?
He had no answer.
He had no answer. And so I think that's why he went with her. And, she'll call it as she sees it. And she just wants to put the information out there and let you make your decision, which I appreciate.
Yeah, for sure. Wrapping up the Hollywood thing, and something you said made me think of it. And what it comes down to, the reason you're seeing through them now, it really goes back to the age-old saying of don't meet your heroes, right? Because there's been a curated existence in Hollywood, a bubble created that this is what people know of you. And then those stories or a persona is built in the press through Us Weekly and the Hollywood Reporter, all the magazines, the tabloids. It's very carefully curated information and how things are set up. And so in a world that's uber connected, where you have voices and people are allowed to, like, it's stripped all that protection away. And these people can't help but tell you all about what they think and what their reality is. And what you're finding is, don't meet your heroes. You're,
Yeah,
they're
totally.
like, they fake that, like who
Right.
they really are comes through. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that it ever changes. They
Yep.
feel that they're in a club that is exclusive and it's, it's
I think it's going to blow up even more when the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Baldoni thing starts unfolding even more, because what you're going to find out is the dirty world of PR and how everything that you're shown is so fake.
yeah.
They really messed up, because there's no hiding that if this comes out. And I think that's just going to put the final nail in the coffin of Hollywood. It's just,
Yeah.
it's all fake.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, you're finding out that politicians, Hollywood, we knew it and we've been bitching about it for a while, but I don't think we fully understood what that really meant and to what level it really goes. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
I watched Elon Musk. Did you watch Elon Musk on Rogan?
I did.
Yeah, fantastic.
Very good. Very good episode.
I
watched it at my mom's while I was under a no politics rule for the weekend.
Of course.
Which she didn't tell me until I landed there, and I was only there for 2 days, and so I only brought a couple of shirts. And one was my Trump Vance shirt where they're in the Step Brothers.
Photo?
The
Team
movie
photo?
Step Brothers.
Yeah.
And then my other shirt I brought said "Mean tweets, not war." And so as soon as we land, my mom's like, "No politics this weekend," and I was like, "Oops, we might have to go to the mall."
Yeah.
So then when I put on my shirt, she'd be like, "Amy, what happened to you?"
Yeah.
And then she would try to bring things up, and like I would just shut her down so fast. And she was like, "I was listening to that podcast. How did they know I'm a liberal?" I'm like, because we talk about it. And how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
I wonder that too. But yeah, I listened to the whole Elon thing while I was there.
I have a couple clips. Some of them are longer, but I think they're important. And Elon talking about NGOs and Soros, I thought was interesting. Ron, if you want to pull that clip up, I think it's great. And you kind of get a better feeling for why this is such a problem, what he's doing there, how this is going down. And there's a couple clips that I think are important.
It's
Ron,
so insane that's been going on for so long.
It's a gigantic scam, like one of the biggest, maybe the biggest scam ever.
And how many NGOs?
I think there's a total number of NGOs, probably millions, but in terms of large NGOs, tens of thousands. I mean, it's actually kind of a hack to the system where someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros was really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out how to hack the system. He's a genius at arbitrage. I mean, these days he's pretty old, but a genius at arbitrage. So he figured out that you could leverage a small amount of money to create a nonprofit, then lobby the politicians to send a ton of money to that nonprofit, so you can take what might be, a $10 million donation to a nonprofit to create a nonprofit and leverage that into $1 billion NGO. A nonprofit is a weird word. It's just a non-governmental organization, and then the government continues to fund that every year, and it'll have a nice sounding name like the Institute for Peace or something like that. But really, it's a graft machine.
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy.
It sort of makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. NGOs are a big problem because by definition, non-governmental agency
Put your
or
mind at ease.
organization or whatever.
It puts your mind at ease, doesn't it, Amy? Oh, it's non-governmental. It's
completely funded by the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've never understood that. And
because
I deal with NGOs a little bit kind of in my line of business, and it's just like I've always thought that about them. I'm like, well, I don't understand. By definition, it sounds like a GO, not an NGO. It sounds like a GO.
Right. So he goes on further in the second clip to talk about this is why the Dems hate me, the libs hate me so much. Why the attack is as strong as it is, and we've seen this. They're coming after him as if he's Trump. This is like,
Yep.
and it's crazy how this works. That normal people can't just watch something like this, take it all in, and see what some of us are seeing, and how much that makes sense. They're parroting the same things. No one voted for Elon. No one voted for this. Like, first off, I think it needs repeating. No, you never voted for any of this.
Right.
If you're one of those people that wants to like take to the streets, hold a sign up saying no one voted for Elon.
Yeah.
No. You would
Yeah,
never
you
would
did.
and never
Yes.
did. You never
Right.
voted for Trump. You never would. But the people that did, the 77 million plus that did, 100% voted for Elon.
Yes.
So when you say stuff like, now with this latest news, I hope you people are proud of,
Yeah, or going around on X, it was like, is this what you voted for?
Yes.
100% this is what I voted for.
Yes.
Yeah, like
This is more than I voted for.
If I were to say, like,
More.
what's at
Yeah.
the heart of the sort of, like, why is the Democrat propaganda machine so fired up to destroy me? That's the main reason. The main reason is that entitlements fraud. That includes like Social Security, disability, Medicaid. Entitlements fraud for illegal aliens is what is serving as a gigantic magnetic force to pull people in from all around the world and keep them here. Like basically, if you pay people at a standard of living that is above 90% of Earth, then you have a very powerful incentive for 90% of Earth to come here and to stay here. But if you end the illegal alien fraud, then you turn off that magnet, and they leave, and they stop coming, and the ones that are here, many of them will simply leave. And if that happens, they will lose a massive number of Democratic voters.
And if it didn't happen, they would turn those people into voters.
Correct.
Which they were trying to do.
They're already turning them. So in New York State, illegal aliens can already vote in state and city elections. A lot of people don't know that. They're trying to fight that, and they're trying to stop that, but they're currently, I think it's like 600,000 are registered to vote, illegal aliens in New York.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like, I think people, I really truly believe people are this stupid that they think that Elon and his band of nerds that make up Doge are literally sitting there going, you're fired, you have a job, you're fired, you have a job.
Yeah.
They are making recommendations to the heads of these departments, and it's up to them as to whether or not they accept the recommendations that Doge is making. They accept it a lot of the time, but they don't have to. So when you're running around going, no one elected these people, it's like they're not the ones ultimately making the decisions. And tell me without telling me that you don't know how the government works. Like, it's just people are so stupid. Truly so stupid. It's mind-blowing.
It goes back to if you come into a situation already basically with your mind made up, then that's what you're going to see played out. So if you come in with he's obviously the worst person ever, his intentions are evil. If you come in with that mindset from the jump, then that's what you're going to see. And so then it's going to be viewed through that lens, which is what you're seeing playing out. The last clip I had for Elon is talking about the threats to his life. And it makes perfect sense. I think his life is in every bit the danger. And I thought this was super telling. It's at the very end of their interview when he's talking about, and Elon, make no mistake, Joe asks him about, the corruption, and Elon stops himself, essentially. He was about to say exactly how bad the corruption was. And, thought better of it. And I think
Mhm.
it was a smart move.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but there you
basically,
go.
I'm like, listen,
I get it.
We'll attack the corruption enough to keep civilization trucking along,
Yeah.
But but I think if I fully destroy the corruption and the graft, they will kill me.
That's a fucked up thing to live with.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, damn it.
Well, listen, I really hope they don't kill you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's killing them.
I mean, I strive to be alive. But yeah, I mean, it's a real concern. I mean, there were two guys that before I supported Trump and everything. There were two guys that traveled to Austin to kill me. I don't know if you know about this.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And two separate incidents. One guy thought I put a chip in his head, and I mean they're both basically two guys that were just very much had severe mental illness. It wasn't like they had like I disagree with him politically and that's why he needs to die. This is before I was before I got sort of smeared as being some sort of like Nazi or something like that. Before the propaganda wave, the severe propaganda wave, the probability that any given homicidal maniac is going to try to kill you is proportionate to how many times they hear your name. And so they heard my name a lot, so I just got to the top of the list of two homicidal maniacs who were arrested, and both were in Travis County Jail at the same time.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know if they talked or whatever, but they've both been released, by the way.
Jesus
They're both
Christ.
released on bail, yeah. Right, but they got ankle monitors and stuff, but still.
They can cut those off.
Yeah, I don't know, exactly. So,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah, and the second guy had like chief serial killer in his bio on his X profile. Yeah, it's like wasn't subtle, is what I'm saying.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And at this point, I think I'm at the top of the list for a lot of homicidal maniacs.
And the more the mainstream media talks about you in this way
Yes.
and says you're a Nazi and
Yep.
They're doing the same thing to me that they did to Trump,
yeah.
which is
Trump.
that they're making it sound like if you kill me, you're a hero. That's what they're doing is evil.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Him and Trump are outsiders. And I don't mean an outsider, people are probably like, "Oh, they're so rich. They're in the top, 0.01%. They're not outsiders." No, they are. In the
Mhm.
political world, those are two outsiders. And I'll tell you, if you think that the government is what you think it is, you are just sorely mistaken. It's not this entity that's there to take care of the homeless and the kids that don't have parents and they're starving and they need food and our veterans. That's not what the government's there for. Okay, these are people who are obsessed with power. Obsessed. And that is all it's about. And Elon and Trump threaten that power. They threaten the war machine and the money and the power. And, he's exactly right. What they're doing to him is what they did to Trump. And they, make no mistake, they wanted what happened in Pennsylvania to happen. They are disappointed that it wasn't successful.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted it to be successful so that they could then go on TV and pretend to be sympathetic and pretend to be like, I have no idea how'd this happen.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with
Yeah.
this. It's
Terrible
not me being
day. Breaking news. An awful day today in Butler, Pennsylvania. Like that's
every single one of those swamp creatures wanted Butler, Pennsylvania to be successful.
I'll go a step further in saying that I'd be very careful if I was Joe Rogan these days.
Yeah.
Like what's going on that show with the access they have, like Joe Rogan's not making points that a lot of us are making. He's making very similar points that a lot of us are making. he's getting direct access for lengthy sit downs with extremely powerful people, the most powerful people on planet Earth. And just having these conversations, it's remarkable
Yeah.
what's going on there. And as much as I think Elon and Trump are in extreme danger, like I don't know if that was the clip where he said he was talking about like when he was explaining why, if I go hard in the paint on these guys, I kind of tuned out for a second with the dog there. So he might have.
Oh yeah, no, he said like if I really told you guys what,
but he was talking
everything,
about
like I'd be dead.
It's a
They'd kill
threat. No, but he was saying like, what if I were to do that? I'm threatening their children at this point. Like these people that you're talking about, the money they make is not a ton. They make 170 grand a year, whatever it is. If they don't do this backdoor scam, grift, graft, whatever you want to call it, their kids aren't going to private schools. Like this is, if I out everything, it is a threat to all of their existence, their families, personally, their children. Like, at what point do you push too hard that you're just someone is going to do the rest of them a favor and kill you? Like, whatever. And I would say this outlet that is Joe Rogan currently, that makes Joe Rogan a target too. If you could eliminate that, like that is how that shit's going. Like Elon or Vivek, they can get on Twitter and say something and it gets picked up and people like, but when you go boom and out of nowhere on a Friday afternoon drops a 3-hour fucking interview with Elon Musk, and I look at it and an hour later, 4 million people have seen it. And an hour after that, 5.5 million have seen it. Like that message is breaking through everything. That's more viewers than CNN will get in 2 months. So
I feel like Rogan is more at risk for like the first story or the story Elon was telling, like about those 2 random people that like came because they're just mentally ill. I feel like that's who Rogan is. Like people man. Who are, I don't know. Shit. I wouldn't put anything past the government.
Yeah, I mean that if you wanted to take out the main way, like that message is getting through, where those guys feel comfortable set in an environment where they know they're not going to get a hatchet job editing. Like
but wouldn't somebody else just pop up in his place? You can't kill all the messengers. I think it would be easier to for them to just take out the one that's making life difficult for them.
Well, maybe. I don't know. That's a big one. That'd be a tough one. Like that's a problem. What's going on right now is a problem for them. To lose control of all of it. To lose that control is a problem. I thought this was really interesting. The Daily Show. I have a clip. Do you have that clip, Aaron, of John breaking the mug and cutting his hand? It was from last Monday, and I never got to it, but it's led to somewhere. If you want to pull that up, Aaron, he's bitching about. His point is something like, Doge, if they wanted to go after the real money, they'd go after the $4 trillion spent on, as if 2 things can't be true at once.
And
all he found was $6 billion. What an asshole.
American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their f***ing drugs because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Come on.
Look at his hand. Yeah, cut the shit out of it.
I'll be going to the hospital. What we do with pharmaceutical companies is like this restriction of freedom in this country isn't DEI and pronoun pressure. It's f***ing poverty and struggle. And the government's role, I'm not done, you bastards. It's fine. The government's role should be to end the corruption that enables
Yeah. So he makes the point, and I know liberal people I've talked to are just like, "Oh my God, yeah, see, they're going to use that like Elon's not going after the real money." It's like, okay,
Yeah, it's like, why can't two things be true at once?
yeah, they can.
This reminds me of over the weekend. I posted that screenshot of woman arrested after explosives discovered at Tesla dealership, and it's a dude. I mean, it's
Yeah.
clearly a dude. So, which is why I posted it, because it was like, well, that's not a woman. I didn't even put
Yeah.
any commentary.
It's a dude
I
in a
just said,
wig.
I'll just leave this here.
Yeah.
And someone commented over the weekend and said, the amount of concern everybody has over other people's private parts is wild to me. Maybe y'all should shift that concern to who we're selling guns to so that our kids don't get murdered in schools. IDK. And I wrote back, I like to live in reality, and calling that dude a woman is not reality. And I
Yeah.
know this is super difficult concept to understand, but you can care about more than one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like, you can care about that crazy ass story
Mhm.
and care about kids not dying in school. Like,
Sure.
that's possible. I didn't realize that needed to be said. I thought that was just like a general, people accepted that in
Yeah.
society, but I think that needs clarification. You can care about the bullshit and the corruption.
Yeah, it's a way to dismiss your argument is all that is.
Yeah, totally.
I in other words, I can't just say I disagree with you and it's
Yeah.
a way to just dismiss it whole,
Yeah. You care more about, dudes
Yeah.
with or chicks with dicks than, dead
Yeah.
kindergartners. And it's like, what?
No, but I do care that when you have a grown ass man with a wig on and you're trying to be like, look what this woman did. Like, can we get some base level
Yeah.
reality here before we take the
Right.
story on?
Right.
You have a mentally ill man.
Yeah.
Like, but this is interesting because I play that Jon Stewart clip where he breaks the mug and he's going to bitch about Doge and they're not doing the real deep dive in corruption. I'm like, give it a month and let's see where they get. Let's see where they go. And by the way, I do care about $12 million on Mozambique fucking tranny dance parties. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
two things can also be true that let's take a look at the Pentagon and let's see what's going on with the trillions of waste there. But I also care about wrapping up that bullshit too. So calls have been growing online for Musk and Stewart to face off. Ever since he went on this tirade, after the episode aired, Musk supporters began clamoring on X to go on The Daily Show for a one-on-one conversation with Stewart. Musk appeared to accept. I will do it if the show airs unedited. That's a totally fair request. I'm sorry. That's why they're comfortable going on Rogan. No. You don't get to go into the edit bay and take shit half context and twist things around. I would think Jon Stewart's a more fair. He's more fair than that, but
Yeah.
he certainly isn't afraid to take clips out of context and then throw them up on his show for comedy.
Yeah.
But if he were to actually get Elon in studio to talk about the Doge stuff, I would hope that he would give him a fair shake. But if I was Elon, I would 100% go with my own camera crew. 100%.
Yeah.
Be like,
do a
no,
3-hour interview and throw it on your YouTube channel, Jon Stewart. It doesn't have to be in the traditional format of whatever nightly show bullshit you're doing, because we realize, that's their whole thing with 60 Minutes is, oh, well, what are they supposed to not edit Kamala's interview? But we get it. You have to, and we get it. You also have a YouTube channel. You can post the whole thing there, and I promise you it'll get almost as many views as the Rogan one got, because people want to tune in to hear what he's saying.
Don't you think if you advertised it for a week, keep it in mind that Rogan just drops it and walks away for the weekend. Like, no promotion, no nothing. It'll get out there. People will know.
People will know.
Fine. Give Comedy Central a week. To this Friday, it's the Daily Show live 3-hour extravaganza. Fine. Take over whatever reruns you were going to run for the next fucking all night. Just take those out and do a 3-hour live stream. And you could do that on every one of your socials and live on Comedy Central. Make an event out of it. Do it on Netflix. I don't give a shit. You could do whatever you wanted. So don't act like, because you're absolutely right. We only got 30 minutes. We can sort of make this compelling for 10 before we got to take a break, a commercial break. No, cut your commercials, Just go live, and Jon Stewart can be he can be the guy, because Joe Rogan can't be trusted. Obviously, he's
Right.
so if that's what you want to do, then go fucking do it. You can
Yeah.
do it. Elon would agree to it. The Daily Show took notice after he said, "I'll do it if the show airs unedited." The Daily Show responded, "We'd be delighted." And they tagged Musk. Whether that is going to be booked, it remains to be seen. During the segment, Stewart tallied what he perceived as missed opportunities for Doge to make meaningful cuts without targeting workers. So Musk last week appeared at CPAC wielding the prop chainsaw. He made an appearance following his directive to federal governments via email asking them to list their recent accomplishments or face termination. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. I hope this happens, and I'll tell you why. And maybe you're seeing this in your world too, but I am inundated on especially Facebook with the most hardcore, like, this is my job now. I post hateful shit to Donald Trump and anyone who supports him all day. These are people, like, that's like all of a sudden, like a light switch went off. That's been happening to me over the last month. It's like, I thought like there's one guy that I was like, can I not see posts from this clown anymore? Please, I'm not telling anyone. I've never blocked anybody. Anybody can say anything they want to me. But there was one guy I was like, okay, enough. I can't take the ramblings of an insane person who's seeing Nazis around every corner. Like, like, how do I do it? And I thought I turned off notifications or something. And nope, he's back. I'm seeing, and it's just like, what the fuck? Who is giving me all this shit?
Yeah.
So these are people that need to see this the most. They need to see their God, their guy, Jon Stewart, their liberal hero, have a real conversation with Elon. Because those people, what I've found is I've heard from plenty of people who have a tremendous amount of comments and opinions about Joe Rogan's interview with Elon Musk. And every one of them is more deranged and delusional than the previous. None of them watched it. None of them would dream of watching it, but they all have these incredible takes on what they know happened. They're dead wrong. And it's like, I can't wrap my head around. You take 2 hours, sit down and watch it, and then be in a position to go, this is why I disagree with it. Like, that's great. The fact is they're not interested at all in just hearing the guy out, hearing his concerns, hearing the chain of events and how things go. They're not interested. They already know, and it's hateful and evil and fuck him and fuck Rogan. But if he were to go on Jon Stewart, they will watch that. And all I can hope is they get a little bit of a takeaway, like maybe the mainstream media is kind of full of shit. Because Jon Stewart, 100%, if he's being fair, and I believe he would be, is going to have a real hard time arguing with Musk about a lot of this stuff. He would.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm sure Elon would be able to put his mind at ease that, you know, they're going to be working on the things that are important to Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
You know, somebody commented on one of my posts, like, oh, I wish they were cutting the Department of Defense instead of the Department of Education. And I was like, Trump literally just said he wants to cut the Department of Defense by like 30%. And he was like, well, I wish he would do that first. And it's like, what? How about it all needs to be done? And we'll get there eventually. Like, the guy's been in office for like 2 months. Yeah,
you can't do it all in a day.
Yeah, and you're already bitching that he's doing it too fast. So, like, what? You want him to do it faster? You want, like, what? I don't understand. You know, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. They're never going to. People are so broken about Donald Trump that he could negotiate peace between Israel and Hamas and Gaza. He could negotiate peace between Russia and Ukraine, and he would still be an absolute monster. Nobody can say that he will ever do anything that's good, and that's where the Trump derangement syndrome comes in. You're absolutely deranged when you can't admit that they are doing something that's good. You don't have to agree with 90% of what he does, but you know,
Yeah.
The guy's going to do some things that are good. And if you
Yeah.
can't admit that, then you're just broken. You're just broken.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy where we're at. I don't know.
You
I
know,
I
my mom said over the weekend. Now, my mom, and we've talked about it. She's a liberal.
yeah, I live with them. I get it.
Voted for Kamala, voted for Hillary, wants there to be a woman president. And she says after the dust up, the international incident that happened in the Oval Office, she said, vice presidents should be seen and not heard. And I was like, wow, Mom. Wow. I said, something tells me you didn't have that same energy the last 4 years when a woman was vice president. If somebody would have said Kamala is to be seen and not heard, which is accurate, you would have a complete and utter breakdown.
Yeah.
But because he's this dude who you think is quote unquote weird, he should be seen and not heard, and let Donald Trump do the negotiating. And I'm like, well, you hate Donald Trump. So what are you even saying?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be even more offended if
Yeah,
Trump was
totally.
talking. No,
Yeah.
there's no way around it. I've almost gotten to the point where it's like you just need to wish him well. Like there was the guy I keep referring to who was the Pearl Jam drummer, Dave Abbruzzese, who's absolutely off the reservation. He's lost his mind. He's looking for fucking, he's looking for clues around every corner to explain, how Putin is this and Trump is like he's just gone. And but then he'll make a post like, I really need to hear from people that voted for Trump, and I really want to learn. I want to know what you saw in that Zelensky meeting because I just need to know what you saw. And they don't, though. He
No, they
doesn't.
don't.
And I thought about responding to him because someone went, yeah, they're so embarrassed. Trump fans or voters are so embarrassed and appalled by his behavior that they've gone quiet. They don't even say anything anymore. And it's like, yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, me too. And I almost wanted to chime in and go, you people, you cannot have, like, if I could absolutely explain to you how my thoughts in great detail about the Zelensky Trump meeting, I could give you context, background on it, how I got to where I am. But no, and as I started to think about putting it together, I was like, there's no point. There's no point. These people they're not operating in good faith. He has no interest in learning anything. And he's already made up his mind about someone with my position, what my position is. He already knows more than I do. So it would be, so I almost just responded and I didn't end up responding anything. And it just made it further like, yeah, see, these guys won't even respond. They're so humiliated by Trump's behavior. It's like, no, you people have so gone off. Like the idea of like, hey, have you ever thought about this? This and dude, the amount of times that I've had conversations with Ed Grabo or Raj or Newberg, and you go, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's interesting. No, tell me more about it. And then I'm able to give my 2 cents and go, yeah, bro, but here's where I'm coming from in this. And you just have like a dialogue. I do it with my brother all the time. And he brings up good points. And I'm like, yeah, he's got a point there. I hadn't thought about that. It bolsters my argument. And then I help bolster his argument a little bit. And we get a more rounded and better view of things. But what Dave is doing is like, no, you are not interested in that conversation. I think that's what you're seeing. Like I've noticed a lot of people that used to talk a lot. It's like, you know what? Fuck these people. They're so off into la la land with reality. My guy's in, he won. We're going to let him go and let these people just spin out. I don't know what else to do.
Yep.
Like that's kind of where I'm at with them.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And, my mom even said something to me too. She was like, I made a comment about how I'm not friends with a family member on Facebook anymore because they removed me because they don't like my politics. And she goes, well, Amy, have you ever thought about not posting your politics? And I was like, no, actually, Mom, I haven't thought about that. And it's weird that you want to silence me.
Yeah.
And that's what happens is that people pressure you. And I get messages so much from people who are like, thank you for speaking out. I have a
Yeah.
job where I can't. And I know you do too, Mike. You've gotten
Yep.
these for a decade. But
Yep.
it's like, I can't speak out, because of my job or because of my family. And I really appreciate that you do it. And it's like, yeah, because their goal is to bully us into silence.
Mhm.
And so that they can be like, see, where are they?
I
Where are
I
they?
bel I truly believe if you don't have people like this show reaches a minuscule amount of people, that's fine. But if you have enough of them going, yeah, if you thought it was weird when you watched the fucking Oscars last night, you're not crazy. Okay.
Right,
If you had an opinion on something that seems like, wow, that's not even based in reality. No, 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 no. You're not crazy. It's not just you. And you don't want to silence them. I'm not going to do it on Facebook. I don't even bother. Like,
Mhm.
I know these people are hurt. They're sick in a lot of respects. And it's like,
Mhm.
and some of them I know, some of them, and I won't name names, but I know some that, I mean, people that have reached out to me that are in bad mental places for various reasons. And then, you see them post and it's like this unhinged, and it's like the context that other people don't know is this person's in a really bad place right now. And
Right.
this is how they're dealing with that, is they're lashing out in some batshitty way on Facebook or wherever, name the social media. So there's a lot of that going on too.
Mhm.
What did you think before we wrap up, Amy? What did you think of the Zelensky Trump White House dust up, if you will?
I mean, first of all, I thought it was hilarious. I
Yeah.
loved it. I
Mhm.
think that stuff like that, I thought it was incredibly interesting,
Yeah.
to see how that unfolded, because that was not the purpose of that meeting with the cameras. And quickly, it quickly evolved into watching an intense negotiation essentially in real time. And that's transparency unlike anything we've ever seen from the government before. And if you're offended by that, you have no idea what goes on behind closed doors.
Mhm.
Zelensky is the president of a country. If he can't handle a few terse words from the president of the United States of America, he shouldn't be president of a country.
Yeah.
And they're talking about very sensitive stuff. And, when Zelensky said, you're going to feel it soon, that was when it all went off the rails.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell us what we're going to feel. You're not going to sit here and intimidate the citizens of my country because of your bullshit. That's not going to happen. And I expect my president to stick up for our country and not let you come in and bully us around and say,
Yeah.
you're going to feel it. But no, fuck you. Fuck
Have
you
you-
all the way.
And it's funny too how many people, and they watched whatever 6-minute clip to end the discussion that took place, and are like, he's being cut off like crazy by JD Vance and
Right.
Trump. They won't let him
It
get
was
a
not
word.
like that before.
I watched all 50 minutes, and I
too.
encourage you to watch. I know you did, Amy, of course. I know how you're going to research. It's why I
Yeah.
like talking to you. It's like,
Yeah.
context matters. It's the same thing we've said for years, that context always matters. And when
Mhm.
you get the full context of what transpired at the White House that day, when you find out that beforehand that the Democrats had a meeting with Zelensky and told him not to accept some deal, like, let's be clear of why you were in the Oval Office, why you
Right.
had cameras all over there. That was supposed to be something we've seen 1,000 times in our lives. Hey, we're signing the agreement. This is it. The peace
Yep.
deal is started now.
Yeah.
And what
The terse words happened behind closed doors. They didn't
Right.
happen,
Right.
to get to that point.
Right. So he has this meeting with Coons and the rest of the Dems an hour before, and then gets sent over there like, don't accept it. Like, these guys are spinning out. They've lost the argument. They're losing the public forum debate. And they don't know what to do. Every day Trump is doing more shit, and they don't even know where to turn their weapon to fire. And so it was like, let's stay on this one. Zelensky made a terrible decision to go rogue essentially in that meeting.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you should be thankful. Like we can get into, do you need all that?
Yeah,
But no,
and
dude.
I got to tell you what was really funny after that. Zelensky went on to X, and like all these countries were, tweeting the exact same words in support of Ukraine.
Yeah.
But what Zelensky's X account was doing was it was reposting every post and saying, "Thank you for your
Thank you.
support."
Thank you for your support.
Which is actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of a funny response. And yeah, I didn't love
Yeah.
that. Like my mom said, he should be seen and not heard. But that didn't offend me that much. And also, like I saw a bunch
I
of
agree.
people posting. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. I agree when you're talking about president, vice president spouses.
Yeah.
Like if you want to talk about their wives and stuff, like I totally agree with that. And a lot of people it's like nobody voted for you, fucker. I don't need to hear from your wife. Like you want to do the silly photo op for Christmas time or Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Fine. I don't want to hear from Jill Biden. I didn't want to hear from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear from Michelle Obama. I think Melania is unbelievable. You don't hear from her but hardly at all. Like, but no, the vice president saying something in a fucking meeting like that. Yeah, no problem. No
like
problem.
it or not, his name was on the ballot next to Trump's. So we did vote for him. We voted for him to speak. And I saw a clip going around too about, that guy asked the question about Zelensky's clothes, which is stupid. I don't give a shit what people wear, but then they also don't show the follow-up that happened a few seconds later where Trump was like, I like your clothes.
like his
I think he looks great. I don't know if you've got an issue with this guy, but he's great too. And like stuck up for Zelensky, was like, we don't care about that. We're here about more important things, essentially. But they don't play that part. It's like, oh, he's commenting on his clothes, and it's like, oh, God.
Yeah. Think about where we are too. In that, like, you've got a guy in Trump, love him or hate him, who has been very consistent for literally 3 straight years, saying 2 things. This war would have never started if I was here.
Yep.
And I want peace no matter what. I'm not on any side. Okay. I'm not on when they're like, oh, are you on Putin's side or Ukraine? I'm on America's side. I'm not for Ukraine. Like Zelensky is looking for big brothers to have his back, right? Yeah. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to send me the weapons? So we as a team, as a unit can take on Putin, and Trump's not interested. He's been saying the same thing. He ran on it. This war ends as soon as I can get it done. Putin's willing to come to the table. Zelensky, I need your ass to come to the table. Sit down. We're signing this minerals deal, which makes perfect sense. If you have American industry on the border, essentially, of Russia in Ukraine, working in mineral stuff, what, you think Putin's going to attack American businesses working? Like, no, dude, he's not an idiot. So that's your guarantee of security, dipshit. That's the security you're looking for. But no, you want for whatever reason, you want to continue this war. Trump, it's not lost on me. Like you people that are standing with Ukraine are standing to keep funding a fucking endless war. Since when are you for that? Since when are my liberal friends for that?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And by the way, and we can go out on this. You do know, okay, there's a way to support Ukraine that doesn't include putting blue and yellow in your Facebook, to make you feel cool and feel good and feel like the better person. You can actually go and help the Ukrainians fight this. I mean, you all stand with them, right?
They need soldiers.
They need bodies. Okay, here are the basic steps you need to take. You must be for Ukrainian citizens, it's a different process. If you really want to show your support, then fine, that you can do that. They are open recruiting right now for non-Ukrainian citizens.
Nice.
So you to be enlisted in their armed forces, you must be a non-Ukrainian citizen between the ages of 18 and 60. You can't have a criminal history. No criminal history. If you have previous military service, that's preferable. Not you don't have to, though. Contact the closest. So here's what you really need to do. Contact the closest Ukrainian embassy or consulate to express your interest in joining the International Legion. They will provide materials and guidance. The paperwork will request background info, skills, language, copies of your ID, kind of racist, but they're going to want some sort of ID from you, such as your passport. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but you know. Ukrainian officers will conduct security screenings to verify identity, confirm red flags if there are any. If cleared, you need to fund your own travel to Ukraine. I'm telling you right now, Amy and I are willing to help you. If you want to go
100%.
and it comes down to your $600, I saw one flight. I don't know that it's direct, but it was like $631 to get into Kiev, to land in Kiev.
Yeah.
We will absolutely help raise that money. If you want to go, put your money where your mouth is with your support, since you want to continue this. Amy and I will help you get on that flight. And so what happens when you land? And you will land in the capital of Kiev for intake processes, processing, equipment issuance, and brief military instruction will be integrated with operational Ukrainian units upon arrival. You'll be assigned to frontline defenses based on relevant skills. Military instruction, my guess is that's going to be Sigayin Babushka with Kalichnikov, shoot. It's probably something along the, but I don't know. I haven't gone there. I don't stand with Ukraine as much as some people do, so I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
The process, start to finish, usually takes 1 to 2 weeks from initial contact to deployment. Upon assignment,
Wow.
Volunteers should be ready for a little bit risky. It's a little bit risky on the front lines, but frontline combat situations. The process begins with applying through official resources only. Prospective volunteers should visit your country's embassy website in Ukraine for more information.
There you go.
So, I mean, for all the people that want to.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're not willing to die for Ukraine, then you shouldn't expect anybody else to be willing to die for Ukraine. And you should be encouraging peace between
at all
those
costs.
countries. Yeah.
This is for those of you out there that absolutely despise every word that comes out of Trump's mouth, no matter what. There's a few things that have never changed. Never changed. The guy does not want other people's children being murdered in defense of nations. He's against war at all cost. There's a time and a place, but these endless wars, he was bitching about it when going back 30 years. He's been saying the same fucking thing. He's been marching to that beat. So he is not interested in a million more Ukrainians and Russians dying. That does not mean he's a Putin puppet. That's not what that means. I thought Steven Crowder today or the other day said the best thing when people were like, oh, this is exactly what Putin wants. He's a Putin puppet. He's spewing Putin propaganda and whatnot. And it's like, because Zelensky said something like, oh, yes, sure. He's good. We're going to be defeated in 3 days. You're spewing Putin propaganda. And he was like, yeah, if Putin says soup is hot, if I turn around then and go, careful, that soup's hot. Oh, what are you spewing Putin propaganda?
Right.
Yeah, no, it's the obvious. Everyone knows without fucking the funding, the weapons and all this, you are going to get your ass handed to you, sir.
Right.
So stay in line, little man. Let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah. Someone commented, and I'll have to go back and watch the video once we're done, but said, Mike, when JD started telling Zelensky that he had seen videos of what's going on over there, you can clearly see him call JD a suka, which means bitch in Russian. No one is talking about that.
I heard this. I've heard that it means a couple things. Did you see that? Have you heard that?
No, I didn't. I'll have to go check it out.
So Zelensky's making a few faces throughout, and he mutters under his breath, and Ukrainian people are like, he just called him a bitch.
Okay.
He's like, he was like, oh, and they're like, oh, so they knew what it was. But
That was in between his cocaine sniffles.
Yeah. I'm always itching my nose too, so I probably look.
Yeah, I know.
I've always got fucking sweat. It's hot in here. I'm always. I don't know what it is. I have dry skin. I'm constantly, like last night I was up half the night itching my back, my nose. So I'm a mess too. So I'm not going to call him up for that. I haven't done blow in fucking years. So Trust me, I'm
Also,
not.
wouldn't be surprised if he was doing blow.
No, not at all. All right, let's do an email or two. Get out of here. James chimes in. Everyone but Amy and Brandon turned into Rachel Maddow. Good show, though. So he's talking about when you and I and Drew.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, this is... Okay, let me explain, Amy, how this goes for me. So I and Drew apparently sounded like Rachel Maddow.
About what?
Fuck if I... Who knows? Dude, this is what I get. Here's a month in my life. Message, and this could be a DM, this could be a text, this could be an email, this could be a Facebook message, name it.
Mhm.
And it's been like, bro, love Amy on the show. She's fucking awesome. Day later, bro, can't stand Amy on the show. What the fuck? Bro, Amy's might be the hottest chick I've ever seen. Bro, what's up with Amy? She's fucking gross. Why do people think she's hot? Dude, I really think it's cool that Garrett cracks me up. Dude, can you get Garrett off the fucking show? That guy fucking sucks. Dude,
Can't
Troy
please
is
anybody.
Troy, dude, doesn't matter. Troy, Jay. I used to get him about Jay. Jesus. I'll never listen again. I'm canceling my membership. I cannot listen to this. I'm out. I'm done. I give up.
Yeah.
This is the greatest the show's ever been. Next day. Like,
Yeah. I know.
So
you can't ever win. You can't ever
you can
win.
never win. You're either the hottest chick around, Amy, or maybe the ugliest. You might be the ugliest.
Yeah. Today I'm for sure the ugliest. I would recommend listening to the audio version of this podcast. I look like a 12-year-old boy today. So I agree with you. And I agree that there's a range of Amy hotness.
Sure.
I'm not naive to that. So you're not
Happens with
hurting
all of us.
anybody's feelings. Yeah. I recently was called fat on X by a dude who probably weighs like, I don't know, 280 to 300 pounds. And he was eating Twinkies all day, but I'm like, yeah, totally. It's funny though, but you know, I run into something similar on
What
X.
did that say? Well, that coming up. You hate her. You both love and hate her, but the hot, ugly Amy is with us today. The hot,
ugly Amy.
Yeah.
I like that. Hot, ugly Amy.
Yeah.
You know, people follow me obviously on X because I'm MAGA Barbie. And so they think that I'm just like this conservative robot, but then I'll tweet about, you know, watching the NBA or watching the NFL. And it's like, I can't believe you watched that propaganda and blah, blah, blah. And they hate Americans. And I'm like, you know what? How about I just like sports?
Yeah.
And, you know, I like, sorry. But I'm just going to watch it. I'll roll my eyes at the end racism in the end zone, but I'm still going to watch it because I love football.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
like, it's not
their
that
attitude.
serious.
Their attitude now is, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Right? Do I like end racism? Don't kick puppies. Like any of the dumb shit they put on their helmets or they put on the ice for a hockey game all over everything. Their response is, what are you going to do? Your choice is to not win. It's like, no, I still love hockey. I still love football. And so I'm going to watch it. And I suppose maybe you can get to a point where you push. And some people have already been there. They're like, I'm out. I'm done with this shit. Yeah. I haven't reached that, but I can feel it. I can feel it. Maybe you will.
I
maybe
get it, but I'm also like not going to shame somebody if they want to watch sports because, you know, at one point people were kneeling for the national anthem. Like, I don't know, you know, people on the internet they're strange. Also, somebody said although I think they may have deleted it, but they said I say like every other word.
You don't.
And I was like, wow, I didn't pick up on that.
I was like, wow. I was like,
oh my, like,
the like.
I for sure know I say it, but I don't think I say it that much.
No, it would stick out to me. There are those people that are like, oh my God, like that thing. And you're not one of those. I say a lot. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Like,
I mean, it is hard when you're constantly
say like a lot.
talking, you know?
Yeah.
You are going to fall on some crutch words if you're
Yeah.
just constantly talking off the cuff.
For sure. But it's to the point. You're like, okay, Drew and I were apparently very Rachel Maddow like in our discussion.
Hilarious.
Like,
I can't even think of something that you guys said
Who
that
knows?
struck me as uber liberal, other than Drew's stupid take on Karen Reed. Because I
Yeah.
equate people who think Karen Reed is guilty to the dumbest of liberals. They're
Yeah.
like the same in my mind.
Yeah. And the funny thing is though, I'll get another email that's like, "What did you turn into mega?" And you're like, "I know. I was called Rachel Maddow 5 minutes ago, so shut up." But they could do that because it's probably because I've been mostly liberal most of my life. I'm not a hardcore like Republican. I've never have been. You forced me into defending Donald Trump, which kind of sucks. You forced me down that road with bullshit is what you've done. And so here we are. But I've always felt the same way about gay marriage and all kinds of shit, So it is what it is. Amy, why you look different? I just finished watching the new Bridget Jones movie, and she put some lip plumbing stuff on her lips. They blow up. She starts to slur her words. So far, Amy, you sound fine.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Someone said, can we get Amy's X handle? Yes, it's Maga Barbie 317.
Sorry, I should give that out. You should put that on your.
I know, I will.
Yeah.
I'll do it next time. And
Are
I'm
still
gone
going
tomorrow.
live on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
This is streaming on my X right
Hi,
now.
Twitter followers. You're gone tomorrow. Is that it?
Yes, I will be in Lansing tomorrow, but I'll be back Wednesday to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was tomorrow or Wednesday.
I got to go be an adult.
Yeah. We got to book a trip out to Dallas too.
I would love that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be in Texas next week. I'll be in Houston.
That's
but I usually go out there once a quarter. Yeah, I know.
Will
But
that be
super
doable
easy to
for you?
jaunt
Like
down there. Oh yeah.
if we plan it in like a month,
For sure.
to go out there. Okay,
I'm flexible.
because they're only there like Monday through Thursday or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm flexible.
Okay. All right.
Literally.
Amy, I'm coming with all my red flags. Gross. Dear God, please keep Aunt Flo at home. You guys are, you must have said that. I'm coming with all my red flags. Anyway. All right. Walters at DetroitCast.com. Send us an email. Tell us how much you love and hate Amy, how hot she is, how gross she is.
Yes.
How racist I am, how sensible I am, name
Please.
it. You can't
Yes.
win. You can't
I
win.
want to
I
hear
love
how
you all.
I look like a dude. I'm trans.
Oh,
I want to
yeah.
hear it all.
Yeah. I see it. You're a guy.
Especially
Total
today.
dude. All right, let's kill it there. AA Ron, thank you so much for being here. Garrett had a little issue back end with his computer, and Aaron jumped to the rescue. Thank you, brother.
It wasn't a DEI firing. He's still around, as far as we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
All
not.
right,
It
fair
was
enough.
not yet. Anyways,
Okay.
DEI firing the.
Did
but,
he email in his 5 things that he does for the show this week to make sure he didn't get clipped?
Not yet. He's on shaky ground though.
Before we end, Mike,
Yeah.
as I'm sure most people in corporations are aware, you have to take yearly courses to work for a company, like sexual harassment, all that kind of fun legal stuff. And one of them that you have to take is DEI. So I had to take my DEI course the other day.
Seriously?
Yes. And when I tell you that I think I might have taken a picture of it. I'll send it to you. And you have to answer questions throughout, like to make sure you're paying attention. And one of them was a drag and drop. So you had words over here and you had pictures over here, and you had to drag the words to match the corresponding picture. And it was all about identifying marginalized groups. So it was.
So they have the N word on one side and then like a series of different people. Like how would
pretty
they
much
do that?
So it was women and children, and then on this side there was a picture of women and children. There was handicap, and there was someone in a wheelchair. There was minorities, and there was a picture of a bunch of minorities. And then what was the other one? There was a fourth one, but it was like the most elementary task. And I'm like, what are we doing right now? What are we doing? And oh, by the way, as a woman, I'm not marginalized. Stop making me a victim. I hate that more than anything. I am not a victim because I'm a woman, and I find that so offensive.
I would too.
So offensive.
Yeah. No, I almost lashed out at someone the other day where it was like, well, thank God they've got, white superheroes like you to go to bat for them. Just like, who the
Exactly.
fuck do you people think you are? I
Right.
wanted to post it online with someone who was going to bat for some minority. I'm like, oh, I bet that's exactly what this Latinx wants, is this super white liberal douche, standing up for, like, ugh.
Oh, I
It's
just sent it to
so
you, Mike.
gross.
The categories were women and children, ethnic minorities, elderly individuals, and people with disabilities. And they each had a corresponding photo. So
Dude, this is honestly, I remember I'm dead serious. This sounds like a test Marshall would have had, like
yes.
in second grade when he was probably in second grade or maybe first grade when COVID hit, and they had words over here, and it'd be like green tree, and there'd be a
Yeah.
picture of and he had to draw the lines
Yes.
to each. That's what that sounds
That's
like.
what
for
that
real.
was. That
And
that
he
is
was either
100% what that was.
Yeah, he was either in kindergarten or first grade,
Yeah.
whatever
And we're
it was.
grown adults.
Yeah, what you're trying to do is like make him recognize what a green tree looks like, and also the dexterity of being able to do a squiggly line to, oh, what's a guitar? Oh, that's a guitar. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
And like, I'd love to know if anybody got that question wrong. I mean, I guess maybe it's a barometer of like, this person's an idiot and we need to fire them. But I mean, I was just like, I can't believe this elementary task is so like, what a waste of time.
Yeah. I personally would fuck with it if they were like women and children. And I was like, well, this one identifies as a woman and this one identifies as a child. So like, you could never be wrong with they identify as.
Totally. Oh, I should have done that.
Yeah. That's how you get
Next
yourself
time.
fired. They would never,
Exactly.
by the way, they would never, ever have done these because, greater media would have shit like this. Never would they put the morning show in that shit. Like it would turn into such fodder. We would fuck around because they're not going to fire you because you fucked around on a test like that.
Exactly.
You can't. There's too much money involved with that product that funds the rest of the people working there. It was like, no, this will end up a bit on the air.
Right.
And there's nothing you could do about it. So
yeah.
keep them out of it.
And yep. They knew that it would have turned into a huge deal.
Oh yeah. This will bite us in the ass. They will make this a bit, and they will take none of this seriously. They will be disruptive. Yeah. It would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Now I wish we would have gone to one of them. No, I never went to one of those things. Thank you, Amy. I will see you Wednesday. Have fun in Lansing. Thank you again, Aaron. Certainly appreciate it.